Då ska vi kolla på en liten video som heter Flat Earthers. Jag tror inte ni kan säga. Flat Earthers versus Scientists. Can we trust science? Okej, vi kollar lite.
Hey guys, welcome back to Middle Ground.
Before we jump in, we've got a huge
Jump in.
announcement.
We jump
a
in.
lot of folks have been asking for this for years. We're finally giving you the first ever Jubilee podcast called Radical Empathy.
That's
Kan
right.
du hålla käft? Ska vi bara börja videon? Mitt experts här.
The one on my right, sphere, if you think that is the shape of the Earth, point to it now. If you think the other model is the shape of the Earth, point to it now.
2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Jag vill bara se vad jag tycker. Jag tycker att det är en triangel. Jorden är en triangel skulle jag säga. So it's like, för tänk kvadrat och sen kvadraten. Kvadrat, det är arean delat på 2. Så det är därför jag tror det. Okej, nu på riktigt. Jag tror det är det är en cirkel. Men nej, det är faktiskt lite mer så här oval. Lite. Men det är mer som en cirkel än platt.
We have a liftoff.
Eller
32
sphere.
minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
One small step for man,
Fast det kanske var i typ
giant
Matrix.
leap for mankind.
Det kan vara Matrix.
What do you think the shape of the Earth is?
I don't think.
Hop right in, riktigt.
I know for a fact it's a globe.
The Earth is flat.
It's like we have this picture of reality that's a big puzzle piece, and then one of those pieces just wasn't fitting.
I'm always open to having
What?
a
What did you
discussion
do?
with someone who is holding a wrong belief like this.
Are you willing to change your mind on this?
I'm not. The evidence is so much.
Nobody wants to be a flat earther, but if you showed me incontrovertible evidence, I would definitely go back. Who wants the ridicule?
Where do you want me to get from the discussion with the other side?
I'd like to tear them to pieces.
Han är tuffing. Jag är rädd för honom. Shout out till Auto Casino.
I'm Jim Underdown, Executive Director of the Center for Inquiry West in Los Angeles and the chair of the CFI Investigations Group.
Det vill bara säga. Du märker att de som är flat earthers, det är de som inte är scientists. Så det betyder, för scientists, they're really smart. Så de märker ju då att så här, det är de som vet att det är. För de andra, de bara, jag tror det. Jag tror faktiskt det. Jag har ingen bevis, men det är så. Jag kan inte ändra mig. Ja. Så scientists, de är kloka i huvudet, som en kloka ugglan.
Spencer Marks, one of the senior members of the CFI Investigations Group, Science Advocate.
I am Malina Yeri. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I'm with the University of Irvine.
I'm Wendell Walton. I'm a Chief Learning Officer for a young startup.
I'm Shelley Lewis. I'm a graduate of West Point.
Graduate,
and jumped out of the airplanes.
My name is Dan Glatt.
Hon är en graduate. Vänta, betyder det college eller? Ja, det måste vara college. Annars flexar man inte det. College graduate. Och hon tror. Det måste vara i typ så här drama eller typ WNBA eller någonting. Hon kan inte vara. Okay.
And I work as Dan the Waterman in the drinking water filtration industry, and I'm a truth seeker.
I get my flat earthers on the left and my globe earthers on the right.
My globe earthers heter inte bara real life.
This is true for you. I believe the earth was created by a higher power.
Det här är vad man ser. Att scientisten, de tror inte på Gud för att de har inte sett bevis. De här scientists, de bryr sig mycket om beviset av det. För de fattar inte, de tror inte på det här. Ja, för de har ingen bevis av det. Fast
Well, I've been a Christian for 30 years, so the Bible is a flat earth book. You have to take it literally. Like, for example, in Isaiah, when it talks about how the earth is like a clay wax seal that's stamped with upturned edges, that's just not some fancy.
The earth takes shape like a clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment. Men det där betyder ju typ... Det betyder ju att den är ju typ platt. Garment, det är typ platt tror jag. Alltså en clay under a seal som man typ stämplar på papper där. Det blir ju platt. Vänta, jag har inte tänkt på det där. Jag tror ändå inte på det.
That's a simile. It is like.
Right, absolutely. And in Isaiah talks about too, and I'm a Christian, he who sits upon the circle of the earth. There's a difference between a circle and a ball.
Är hon idiot? Om man har en boll. Jag har en boll här. Här har vi en boll. Okej, vänta. Så jag har en boll här. Jag kan fortfarande dra en cirkel runt den. Så jag kan ju dra en cirkel runt, men utan, ändå om det är en glob, eller vad det heter, en glob. Det är en glob. Jag kan ju fortfarande en cirkel runt. Ja. Hon har inte tänkt med hjärnan.
Exactly. If you look at the original Hebrew, it means disc. There's over 200 scriptures in the Bible that point to a flat earth.
So this notion that
Yeah, we said
you
the
need
flat earthers
God
rage
or
bait
some higher
lite.
power to create the earth or the universe is very old and was initially posited by people of a pre-scientific age. Since then, we have learned quite a bit about the universe coming into existence, when that happened. Modern humans don't get their cosmology, they don't get their physics, they don't get their knowledge of the universe from the Bible or any ancient text.
It's sort of like the God of the gaps. Once, people used to believe that lightning was God's wrath and throwing these lightning bolts, but once we understood it was a natural process, God shrank a little bit more because now we couldn't attribute those lightning bolts to God. We had to attribute that to the real science. And the other thing, the point about the Bible specifically for me is, why is that one particular text the correct one? You choose to believe that, and that's fine, but there's so many other writings and so many other books, so why weren't they correct? Why is just the Bible correct?
Well, what you'll find in a lot of these ancient religions is they're all flat earth religions. All their cosmology goes back to being...
Jag gillar vad scientisten sa, det var ganska smart. Fast också, vad den här tjejen som håller på att säga. Hon svarar ju inte på frågan. Alltså, vad gör så den här boken är korrekt? Hon säger, alla böcker är flat earthers i religioner. Han sa ju utan,
a flat earth with an enclosed system. So it's not just the Bible that teaches this. It's many different religious books.
So,
nämn dem. Buddy.
one problem I have is to trying to explain phenomena happening in nature by holy books. Those are religious books. Those are not books of science. And it is wrong to infer or deduct scientific readings out of those books.
My name is Wendell. I am a logical, biblically based, and scientific flat earther. I didn't start.
Hörde du sista han sa? Scientific. Put in it down below if you think he's truthful or lying.
Start out, and no one starts out as a flat earther, but I had a lot of questions. So I actually got to the point where I had to go out and put my own eyeballs on it. So we went out to an observation at Salton Sea, and things just didn't add up down there. So we've gone back probably a dozen times, and I can guarantee you that there is no curvature over distance.
The internet.
Jag tror inte han förstår hur stor planeten är. ändå är skålen är liten. Fast skålen är liten mot typ galaxer och såna grejer. Och det finns miljontals såna. Det är skitlitet. Det är litet till solen, fast han tänker inte på att vi är så små. Det där stället, det kanske är stort. Fast det kan vara typ lite så här, det kan vara, alltså man märker inte ens det för det är så litet. Det är så litet differens. Så det är typ man kan inte märka det.
Has played an important role in confirming my view of this topic. Confirming my view of this topic.
Never believe the internet. Never believe it. You know it. You know it. Everybody says it. Don't believe the internet. You see this? This one's not very great. De här borta. De här är borta. Nej, de lyssnar inte på internet. Why is that?
That's the problem.
See? I'm smart. I'm a scientist. Well, that's the problem. Tack så mycket, Ali, eller vad det heter.
Well, we have the advantage of information today that's outside of channels 2, 4, and 7 and the few networks that are corporately owned. It's pretty easy to say YouTube isn't research, but when you spend enough time, you're picking up quite a bit. And with the discussion groups, panels, we've gone against opposition. We've opposed ourselves. Surprisingly enough, flat Earth is its own worst enemy. So it's not that easy for us to come to consensus. And we find that consensus is orchestrated and not actually scientific in any way.
You know, my grandfather used to tell me growing up, never believe anything you read in the newspaper, right? He told that to me. Now, with the age of the internet, it's like, you know, how much of this misinformation are you getting there? And when you have like eyewitnesses taking video of something, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. That's why, because of my multimedia background, I knew that all that stuff could be faked. You know, take it into Photoshop, take it into After Effects.
Men varför lyssnar du på det då? Varför hade det hjälpt dig att lyssna?
Okay, this is at the core of the issue of why there are so many flat earth believers out there right now. The problem is the information from someone who decides to start a website or produce a YouTube video is not reliable. When I have a toothache, I go to a dentist. When my car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. When you have questions about cosmology, you should go to an astrophysicist, you should go to a physicist, you should go to people who have spent years and years studying these ideas, not some 6-minute YouTube video.
Det finns ju videos som kan ha rätt, fast alltså riktiga om man har riktiga tankar, om man har riktiga tankar om det var som sant. Go to astrophysicist and ask him. Fråga dem for my Swedish viewers. För mina svenska medlemmar av min kanal. Första video också, men okej.
It's a percentage of people that if they saw a YouTube video that was not within their scientific chops to refute on the face of it would believe anything out there.
One of the things I will say is NASA.gov has their own documents out there that we get to vet, which is through the Freedom of Information Act. And would you agree that NASA documents, if they're on display, that we should be able to go and research inside there?
NASA is not proving that the Earth is flat.
Well, they say it in 14 of the documents.
You should read what NASA says, and you should listen to what NASA says.
I would love to see your NASA evidence that the Earth is
flat. It's only their contradictory issues that bring us here.
We're all familiar with the Earthrise photo, right? The Earth is rising over the moon. We're all familiar with it. That's NASA. You can go out to NASA's site. You can download the original, right?
I already know what you're going to ask.
So you bring up the luminance on it, and you can see where it's cut out and pasted there.
They're showing us doctored images that are clearly doctored. The blue marble is a very...
Det här är det sjukaste jag har hört. Cirkeln runt om när han gör bilden ljusare, det är ju ljus från planeten som studsar av. För det... Jag pratar inte med dig, Siri. Okej. För att i det här ozonlagret, det åker ju in lite. Typ kolla, vi ser mina fingrar. Det här är ljus. Oj, gangsign. Det här, alla de här 4 ljus. 3 av dem kommer in. En av dem lite svagare ljus. Det studsar av. Därför finns det annars skulle vi nej. Det studsar av lite. Det är svårt att förklara fast
Famous image from 1972. When you talk to the artist from NASA, his name is Robert Simmons, he talks about exactly how it was created from data, and it's not a photograph whatsoever. He added clouds.
Let me explain.
He added a highlight of the
If
sun.
you take, on your...
Han added the clouds. Number 1, vad det är med planeten form. He added the sun. Han ville göra the picture cool. Så de tror också att solen inte existerar. Det är Matrix.
Most phones have that panoramic image. When you do that, you're taking a series of pictures, and the phone cleverly stitches that
just
together.
saying how it's presented. It's presented as a real photograph.
So when NASA takes real photos and they either clean them up for color or they stitch them together so it's one large image, it doesn't mean they're CGI.
You're talking about composites. I'm what you call a globe denier.
Också kallas flat earther.
You could even get me into a virtual construct if I can't find the borders myself.
What shape would you say you think the Earth is?
It appears to me to be a stationary plane, as opposed to the vastness of infinity of space. I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives.
Va?
To be a stationary plane, as opposed to the vastness of infinity of space, I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there.
Jag måste ha den här bilden. Okej. Han tror att våran galax och allt vi ser, planeterna, är i våran ozonlager. Is this guy kidding me? Har ni sett den här bilden av apan och tigern? Jag känner mig som tigern just nu, fast det här grabben är apan. Så här. Den är bara. Okej, fortsätt.
To be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there. You know, these particular people have misled us on television. This is a brilliant opportunity to speak. We've been suppressed, censored by mainstream media. Alternative media is just a thing of beauty for me.
I view the other side as uneducated.
I'm running.
Uneducated.
They think they are
I'm
uneducated.
running for this.
Well, they certainly think they're educated.
And they're following quite a bit of the university system, what we call scientism.
Right, scientism.
Obviously is the belief in what's written, where we tend to be exploring in the field with...
Believe in what's written. Okej. Det är skrivet för att det är sant. Eller det är skrivet för att... Okej, det där var... Jag vet inte varför jag säger det här.
Physical properties, not theories of any kind. We're using actual measurements that are calculated not by our guidelines, but the guidelines of science as we know it. I can only hope they're uneducated as opposed to disingenuous.
Well, that's the other thing too, because we know that at least on a large scale, the government has been disingenuous, and they're pushing a narrative, right? So it's hard for us. I mean, I'm sure that you've met people too. It's like, look, are you haven't looked into it yet, or are you a shill? Are you part of a disinformation campaign?
I don't think you guys are uneducated. I think you're wrongly educated.
I think the problem with what I've seen in the flat earth crowd is that it's not that they're undereducated, but they, instead of looking at evidence and letting the evidence guide to where the ultimate conclusion is, they start with a conclusion and then they try to cherry pick evidence to support their pre-drawn conclusion. They cast away all the bits of evidence that actually is contrary to their beliefs.
I think that you're very well educated as well as
De
you
andra bara,
are,
you're
Jim.
stupid, you're not educated.
And we get the best education
Yeah,
of all of us.
You're educated, but not...
Exactly, and he paid for it too. But more and more professionals are coming on board. They're starting to question their reality. So the thing of it is once you start to really take a hard look at the evidence, and you are unafraid of just standing for the truth wherever that may lead you, then people end up becoming flat earthers.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
I'm hoping to be able to tell our side of the story from the inside out. So many times, flat earthers are depicted from the outside in, and I want to be able to share with others empirical data that proves the earth is not what we've been told.
Vad fan betyder det där då?
I have changed my mind at some point about this topic.
De andra har aldrig ändrat
So
sig.
when I was 12 years old, I went to space camp, and I met Alan B. Shepard.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be the
Put a
first
picture
woman
of
to
him
walk the moon.
right here.
So,
Editor.
for me, I'm a glober.
Thanks.
I went into this completely wanting it to be true. And my husband told me, he saw this thing about the fake moon landing. And I was like, you're absolutely crazy. There's no way that the moon landings are fake. And then in 2010, my husband was killed. And so I never really developed that until around...
Hur säger man? I'm sorry for your loss.
Around 2014, when Flat Earth kind of came back up. And that little voice inside my head said, remember the fake moon landings? Remember when that was brought to my attention? And then I started really critically analyzing that. And I would say, just looking at that evidence, if they can lie about the moon landings, they can certainly lie about pictures and satellites and other things. And so I started going down that rabbit hole of studying. So that was my influence from my husband.
How many lies does it take to make a liar, right?
And being ridiculed for being inquisitive is pretty tough on us. I wouldn't say that I've changed my mind because my mind isn't set. NASA is solely designed to change my mind. It is, from its inception, from its discovery, has been a television program, it's been a space program to sell us on something that they've yet to actually show us. Show me a globe spinning with clouds and a moon, show me home, and I think I could shut up easily. I think I could shut up.
The timing of your conversions is interesting to me. 20 years ago, the flat earth world was tiny and insignificant. Enter the advent of the internet, YouTube, online discussion groups, all these new available places where you could find information about everything.
This is true that the evidence as you looked were not robust evidence. And the sources you used, they were not reliable sources again. But my problem is that, and I like you guys that you are very skeptical, but at the same time, you are not skeptical about your belief system.
You
that
keep
should
going
have come
back.
first.
You think that that's my foundation for why I believe the earth is flat, and I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Okay.
I have evidence that proves it's flat.
What type of
proves
evidence?
It's not a ball.
What type of
We're being misled. We're being deliberately misled by mainstream
Now,
media.
what's your evidence?
We see too far. We see too far. We should not be able to see. I live in Dana Point.
Okay.
I can see San Clemente Island, which is 60 miles away.
So what?
It's very high.
What do you mean, so what?
No, I'm on the beach.
1,100
I'm
feet
on
tall.
the beach.
It is
What do you mean by
tall.
so what?
I'm on the beach.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Can you see a ship which is going?
We're not talking
Let's talk about the ship that goes
Yes,
over the curvature
okay.
of the earth. I love
So-
that. So science has said that when I see a ship go out of my field of view, it's going over the curvature of the earth, correct?
Yes.
But then I bring my P900 up, and guess what? I can zoom it back in.
Not
So
all
is
of
it
it,
going over the curvature of the earth or
can't.
not?
Absolutely.
Oh, not all the
No, you
time?
can't.
Not all the
No,
time?
no, you don't see all the ship. The bottom part of the ship
Yes.
is hidden by the
At that
curvature.
distance, you shouldn't see the top
At
of it
all.
either.
If the Earth were truly flat, there would be really hardly any limit. You would be able to stand at the top of the Empire State Building and look towards Chicago, a mere 1,000 miles away, and see the lights of Chicago at night.
No,
Why wouldn't
because you have an atmospheric disturbance.
Very thick.
I've been
Water
into
alone.
astronomy since I was 10.
It's faulty logic. It's completely faulty logic.
Let's reset, and then I have a more interesting.
Okay.
Där vann de andra flat
Imagine
earthers,
being
fast jag
able
har
to
hållit
build an
med
app
vad
with
de
your
sa
name
ändå.
on it. just by
Rate
thinking
det
about
bara.
it. Meet base 44.
One of the big things I do is investigate extraordinary claims like flat eartherism or ESP or all sorts of different things. The Earth is undoubtedly a globe and not flat. This is well supported by gobs of science.
Gobs.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Scientific consensus is possible.
What is the question?
I don't understand the question.
Scientific consensus is possible.
Possible? Anything is possible. I mean, anything.
Kan jag flyga 300 meter upp i luften och sen hit a dance? Alltså hoppa ner och alltså lägga en till dance och sen överleva? Nej, exakt. Gulligt.
It's possible. I've got a tremendous issue with consensus and peer review. I've been spending a lot of time arguing with people that argue the other side.
Jag vet inte vad det där betyder faktiskt. Jag fattar inte frågan. I put a little editor put a little thing here.
And I found that surprisingly, consensus always wins. It was shocking to me that the group with the majority has an incredible advantage. As scientists, flat earthers, truthers, punks, we're at an incredible disadvantage.
Let's talk about scientific consensus for a second. You're never going to get 100% of anyone. There is scientific consensus on a global Earth. There's scientific consensus on evolution. A lot of big issues.
Use the word theory.
No, do you know what a theory in science is? An extremely
and a fact is a fact.
Don't mistake this word theory.
You are
in science. It's not conjecture. It's not.
It's an explanation. By definition, it's an explanation.
It's a deep.
Well, let's talk about a fact. Show me a fact.
Made a mistake.
Grabben håller käften. Han pratar så
The word
mycket.
theory is the highest level that you can give something because it's so well supported.
What about a fact?
That is a fact. It's
not a fact. You would call it.
You know why? Do you know why? Because in science, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to find better, to tweak and find better information.
So that is how science works.
Like button.
It gets better, refined over time, as opposed to flat Earth theory, which never gets refined. It simply is what it is.
New ideas have limited access to media and limited exposure. Until we're in university curriculums, we will continue to appear uneducated.
Well, that's not true. In the history of science, we had many occasions that the ideas it was not welcomed by the society. Einstein was one of them. Galileo was one of them. But if your theory is an authentic one, and it can go through this hardship of scientific method, eventually will win.
I used to believe that science was after the truth, right? We all just want to know what the truth is. Science has been trying so hard to divorce itself from the idea of a creator when God's intent was to create science to lead you to him. You know, sometimes things seem supernatural that we are able to explain later through, science. Okay, I understand. But there are other things as well that are supernatural, that go beyond the natural, that we can only explain through believing in a creator. Right?
This is my big issue with science, scientific approach and non-scientific approach. You are absolutely right. In science, we are after the truth. And we are hoping by each day we're getting closer and closer to the truth. We never get there. Never.
Well, I know that's true for you. And
No, that's a science. That's you guys. You think you do have the truth. Now let's look at the evidences. As you were mentioning, you do have the conclusion. Let's find the evidences. Science doesn't work that way.
That's not true. That is not true.
Well, you are saying you are referring to Jesus, who many billions of people do not believe, including myself.
And many more billions do.
So what?
So who's right?
Of course I can.
When you say that we start with a conclusion and then try to match everything to make it work, like that to me is complete dishonesty. That is not true at all.
I have no statement.
No, you're not. You're making that assumption, which I think science does a lot of. So do you make assumptions or not? Does science make assumptions? Does science make assumptions?
Yeah,
Okay.
We do make assumptions based on things that are well supported and proven and reproven. We don't have
Show
to.
me how you isolate gravity. If gravity...
Show
we
me
don't
how
have
you
to
isolate
Show me the
gravity.
scientific method how you isolate
How do
gravity.
you isolate gravity?
Let's cool off
Yeah, sure.
and reset.
Bro.
You're like a little round hard candy.
Conclusions require knowledge.
I just want to check in. How are you guys feeling? How's this discussion going?
I kind of feel like I want to develop some of this stuff a little bit more. It feels high level, but I feel like there's so much that I haven't really even touched base on.
Well, I mean, I certainly didn't think that anybody was going on either side was going to flip.
Well, there's still time.
There's still time. I have hope for you, Wendell, and Shelley. I don't know about Dan. I have hope for you too. But you know, it's certainly. I'm glad it's a civil discussion. Certainly.
Oh yeah.
Put your waters to the side, and we'll just do another round.
Var fick de vatten från? Jag tror jag kollade bort.
Wendell, welcome aboard. Welcome.
The greatest moment in television history, right there.
Good Ed.
All right. NASA is trustworthy.
Var det inte den här grabben? Med typ det här, vad heter han? Med no hair. Wendell, nej inte, vet han. Hagar. Hugina Munin. Okej, ja, han var inte han som sa att han lyssnar på NASA. Han bara... Han lät den typ styra hans hjärna nästan. Eller någon, ja. That's what I heard.
So, I mean, obviously any organization can be wrong with certain things, and they may have individuals that lie or deceive or something, but as a general organization, they're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the idea that NASA and the government is lying to us about the shape of the Earth is the height of conspiracy theories. In order for this to be true, the literally hundreds of thousands of people who at some point over the last 50 or 60 years would had to be somewhat complicit in this, and nobody spills the beans at all, is on the face of it completely unbelievable.
The private does not know what the general is doing. There's compartmentalization happening all the time.
Of course.
So it wouldn't be that far-fetched. Has the government ever lied to us is really the question at stake.
We all agree on that.
Yeah, but now we,
Common ground.
now we have NASA.gov, right? And absolutely, they're not lying about anything. They're completely transparent. Everything is true. We'd be foolish to think that's true.
Here. I'm sorry. This is.
Everything is true. We'd be foolish to
there
think
is a
that's
difference
true.
here. I'm sorry. This is a fallacy here. There is
Not
a
a fallacy.
I'm sure it is.
Go
See,
ahead.
you were talking about a government. Now you're talking about an agency of the government.
NASA.gov.
But this agency is scrutinized
NASA.gov.
by thousands and thousands of scientists around the globe. You are dealing with smart people, believe me. You are dealing with smart people.
I don't deny that.
So it is very hard to do that. Once or twice, maybe. Not for the all time.
Raise your
Not
hand if
for
you
the
think
whole time. Jag håller med faktiskt.
What is the proof?
All time.
Raise your hand if you think we went to the moon.
What is the proof? Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of moon rocks and dust. And we have distributed those freely to PhD scientists around the world. And not one of those geologists have said, what is this?
Been
Is
proven
this
to be
some-"
fake.
And also and collected on the ice in Antarctica and
Yeah,
in the Arctic as
absolutely.
well. Those are collected. You don't have to go to the moon to get moon rocks. As a matter of fact, all U.S. Air Force photography prior to 1958 shows a flat Earth. Only NASA shows a
Det roliga grejen, alla flat earthers, de säger ju olika grejer. Bara, those were fake, they were proven fake. Och det andra bara, you can find moon rocks anywhere, actually. They're be found in Antarctic in ice wall.
True.
That's
absolutely not
true,
true.
Jim. I wouldn't lie to you.
And the other
NASA's lying.
Grejen är, he doesn't want to lie. Han vill inte ljuga. Han vill inte ljuga. Men Eller han ljuger ju tekniskt sett. Men han säger ju bara vad han tror. Vad han vet. Fast det räknas inte som en ljuger riktigt. Fast han har ju fel. Bara.
To you, my friend.
Other bit of
Not myself.
is
In
we
my
have
opinion.
a laser
No disrespect to flat
retroreflector on
earthers.
the moon.
That we're using now.
We still use to this day.
It's sitting there.
You can find to the inch how far away the moon
No
is.
pictures of home.
That only is there. By the
No,
way,
there are
No pictures of home.
not.
My question to you is, why? Why would all these honest, hardworking people perpetuate this massive fraud? Why would they do this?
What's the benefit of doing
Okay, the benefit of it. They make $52 million a day. Follow the money.
No, the little
Follow
guy.
the money.
The little guy.
That's what, then when you say all, okay?
but it didn't start out that way. And NASA was not founded to prove the Earth was a globe. That had nothing to do with the way they were founded.
Well, if you go and study
Are
the
you
whole-
sure?
Yeah, positive.
Really?
Yes.
Somebody has to be a voice
Are
for
you
reason.
sure?
Somebody has to be a voice for truth.
Are you sure,
It would be
really?
a fantasy to believe that I would change anybody's mind from the other three. However, if there's somebody sitting on the fence, and this is the first introduction to this debate, perhaps they'll hear the reasonable voice and say, yeah, that makes more sense than having this pizza-shaped Earth.
I can put myself in the mindset of the other side.
Okej, här failar de här scientisten. Om man ska kunna debata någon, då borde man kunna se från deras skor, från deras poäng av syn. Deras poäng av syn, point of view. Man borde kunna är det spöke på höger? Vänta, jag märkte det där nyss. Han ser lite som Jeffrey Epstein. Här. Ja, i alla fall. Man borde kunna se från andra personens poäng av syn för att kunna debata någon. Annars kommer man bara säga faktum av vad man tror eller av vad man vet. Fast de andra, de kan säga okej, så de har sett faktan. Och de här är bara I don't believe it. I think they're stupid in the mind and they can never get fixed.
I used to be a ball earther. Everything you say right now is completely what I used to agree to. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
For me, I think the correct way to do any kind of investigation or to examine things is by literally putting yourself in that mindset of the other person. So I do that. I disagree with your position, but I completely understand from your perspective what you're saying.
Finns det möjlighet, vi kan alla åka.
Ja.
Alltså tillsammans, vilket var roligt för er.
The trouble I have understanding your perspective is, in the modern world, unless you live in a cave somewhere, you have to believe in science implicitly. I met a flat earther, a young woman who said, I don't trust anything that science does. And that's a problem because human beings can't replicate the whole body of science every single generation. At some point, you have to trust what's already been discovered and proven and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, we're not going to advance at all. I mean, when you turn that key ignition in your car, you expect the car to start out.
And not blow up.
And not blow up, because science puts you in that position. So it's really hard to understand how people would know in their hearts that science achieves wonderful things and then just jumping ship when it comes to this other issue.
We're not drawing conclusions. We understand the mechanisms that made that car work. There is no theories and no disputed conclusions involved there. It's not a good analogy. Can I admit a great compromise that we have to experience being against the grain people is we have to literally sit in a group and decide whether or not we can afford to have an opinion, and that's tough.
I agree with you there, because we're the same thing. I mean, I think skeptics go through this and atheists go through this. I don't believe in God. When I'm around religious people, I take a chance socially when I tell them I'm an atheist. So I know it takes some courage to follow your beliefs, and I appreciate that. But I think I've done a lot of research in that venue too. And it's not something I choose to believe in, it's something I have to believe in based on the evidence.
See, what I get from you guys is that seeing is believing. So how come you believe in God or Jesus? You haven't seen neither of them, right?
I've seen evidence, though.
Well, exactly. So we are looking for evidence. There are many, many other evidences for Earth not being flat. My point is that these experiments clearly show that the Earth is globe. And you don't need to go outside the globe to see it's globe.
It's a theoretical...
You told me you want the evidence. If you're saying that you look only to see something, then I dispute your belief system in God and Jesus or Jehovah or Buddha or Zarathustra or anyone. Because it's coming from there. You think you do have the truth.
I have evidence. I have evidence.
You quoted at the beginning of this. You quoted Bible.
Of
That's
course
the
I did,
reason.
but that is not the only reason I know what the shape of the Earth is, and you keep, that's fallacy.
It's not fallacy.
It is a
Actually,
fallacy.
it is not fallacy.
It is a fallacy.
I'm a theoretical physicist. What I'm doing is the combination of string theory and cosmology. So we try to understand what happened during the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, or even before the Big Bang.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
Well, I hope I would be able, particularly to the young generation, to convince them that first, they should think critically and don't believe anything. They shouldn't take anything for granted. Look at the evidences and examine those evidences and throw away those claims that are not evidence-based.
Science, not to put it down, but when you're talking about rocket science, this is very difficult for the majority of people to understand, and it's designed that way. And so, in a lot of ways, hiding behind rocket science is similar to religion. If you look at the Catholic Church back in the days, only we can interpret the Bible, you have to listen to what we say. So in a lot of ways, we're getting that same notion from science that says, only we can interpret what these numbers are, you just need to trust us. But then when we actually do go and test some of their equations and they don't work, does that beg the question for us to go and test it ourselves? Absolutely.
I would say, you know, one great thing about science is its predictability. Let's for some moment, for a short moment, assume that your model, this flat Earth model, is correct. I don't know, what does it buy for us? What does it predict for us? So my question for you guys would be, next time, bring me something from your theory, your model, that you can predict something which the globe Earth model cannot predict. Then I would change my mind.
I would just say that...
Jag vill bara säga, den här grejen här, det här ser ut som början av chapter 3 i Fortnite. När en event, när den bara... Och det kommer våg. Det ser exakt ut som det där faktiskt. Okej, ja. Vänta. So the Earth copied the Fortnite. Okej. Då vet jag.
Believe anything that I've said.
So
You
Spider-Man
gotta
är
do your own
riktigt.
research. And I think what you'll find is that you'll see that a puzzle piece doesn't fit. And the only way you're going to do that is if you put your own eyeballs on it.
I don't blame people for being skeptical. I'm skeptical about a lot of different things. I applaud that instinct in you. But you have to go beyond just not believing in something. Ask the hard questions. Ask what qualifies a YouTuber, a book author, anywhere else you're getting this information, what qualifies them to make wide-ranging comments about the shape of the Earth? Look, anybody who can overturn Einstein or some major theory is going to be eventually written in the halls of science for the rest of their lives. But they have to come up with the goods. They have to show good science-based evidence that what they say is true, and they have to withstand the test of time and peer review and the rigors of the scientific method.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jim.
Thank you.
Nice to
I'm
meet
all
you.
sweaty.
Ollie, it was nice to meet you.
I'll get a hug too.
Almost neighbor.
Yeah, very nice to meet you.
Good seeing you. Hey, I want to get you a copy of my novel.
Oh, sure.
And,
Hey, good job to you.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Middle Ground.
That's right. We know
Thank
that one of
me-
the
thank
biggest
me for
requests we
watching.
get is we just want longer episodes.
Thank
we want to know
you.
more about these stories.
You
We
for
want to hear
watching.
more about the middle.
Okej, jag har 3 frågor. Och sen har jag också en grej för att se om ni har kollat hela videon. Kommentera ananas om ni har kollat så här långt. Fråga nummer 1. Okej. Fråga nummer 1. Tror ni på flat earth? Eller globe earth? Skulle ni kunna ändra er? Och kommer du likea och subscriba? För att det kommer göra mig glad. Okej, tack för att du visat intresse och vi ses.